Welcome, everyone. Dear brothers and sisters, we welcome you to your channel, The Living Word. Are you ready for this? I'm not asking if you're curious. I'm asking if you're prepared. Because what you're about to hear is not the kind of truth that makes you smile and nod. This is the kind of truth that can shatter illusions, strip away comfort, and demand that you change right now. Most people say they want the truth. They claim they value honesty, transparency, and reality. But the moment the truth stares in the face, raw, unfiltered, and undeniable, they flinch. They look away. They tell themselves, maybe later, I'm not ready for this yet. And so, they keep living in a world of half-truths and comforting lies, thinking they're safe. But you're here. You clicked. You stayed. That tells me something about you. It tells me you might be ready for the kind of truth that will not let you go back to how things were. The truth I'm about to share will disturb you before it frees you. It will make you question things you believed for years. It may even make you uncomfortable with yourself. This is not a game, and it's not for entertainment. This is about life, faith, morality, and destiny. The real forces that shape who you are and where you're going. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's my warning. The truths I'm about to lay before you will demand a choice. You can embrace them and let them transform you, or you can reject them and return to the safety of ignorance. But if you choose the second path, don't say you weren't told. The question is not, do you want the truth? The real question is, can you handle it? Remember to like the video, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss a thing. Share this video with your loved ones, as this knowledge can literally change a life. Why people avoid the truth. If truth really sets us free, why do so many people run from it? The answer is simple. Freedom is uncomfortable. It's easier to live in a carefully constructed illusion than to face a reality that demands change. Lies wrap us in warm blankets of comfort. Truth, on the other hand, can feel like stepping outside into a freezing wind that bites at your skin. One of the biggest reasons people avoid the truth is fear of change. If you accept the truth about yourself, your faith, your relationships, or the world around you, it might mean you have to alter the way you live. That could mean ending a toxic friendship, quitting a job that's slowly destroying you, or letting go of a habit that gives you temporary pleasure but permanent damage. Change is hard, so the mind finds ways to deny the truth just to keep things the same. Another reason is comfort in lies. Think about it. It's easier to believe that the people in power always have our best interests at heart, that the food we eat is always safe, that everyone we trust is telling us the full story. But history shows otherwise. Empires have fallen because citizens refused to believe danger was coming. Relationships have collapsed because one person ignored obvious warning signs. There's also the instinct of self-protection. Facing the truth can mean facing guilt, regret, or shame. It's not easy to admit, I was wrong, or I've been fooled. The ego hates it. So we create stories in our heads to defend ourselves, even when deep down we know they're not true. Look at history. The Titanic's captain was warned about icebergs but pressed on, believing the ship was unsinkable. In spiritual life, entire generations have ignored divine warnings, only to face consequences they were told were coming. In personal life, how many people ignore health symptoms until it's too late, simply because they don't want bad news? Truth doesn't always come softly. Sometimes it arrives like a storm, tearing down everything you built on shaky foundations. But here's the reality. Avoiding the truth doesn't make it disappear. It just delays the moment it hits you, and by then, the cost is usually higher. The question isn't whether truth is dangerous. The question is, how much more dangerous is it to live without it? The first hard truth. Here's the first truth you need to face. No one is coming to save you. We've been conditioned to believe that someone else, a leader, a friend, a system, even sheer luck, will step in at the right moment and fix everything. From childhood, we're told stories where the hero swoops in at the last second to rescue the helpless. It's comforting, it's beautiful. But in the real world, waiting for a savior can keep you trapped in a life that's slowly draining you. Think about it. How many people stay in bad jobs, bad relationships, or destructive habits because they're secretly hoping something will just happen to make it all better? They're waiting for that phone call, that miracle promotion, that sudden change of heart in someone who's already shown their true colors. They think time itself will heal everything. But time only heals what you actively work on. The rest usually gets worse. The painful side of this truth is realizing that no matter how much people love you, they have their own battles. No one is sitting around planning how to rescue you from your struggles. That's your responsibility. And yes, accepting this can feel like being abandoned in the middle of the ocean without a life raft. But here's the liberating side. When you stop waiting for someone else to take action, you start moving. You stop handing your destiny over to chance, and you start steering it with your own hands. That's when change begins. That's when you start to see opportunities that were invisible before because you were staring at the horizon, waiting for help to arrive. History is full of people who discovered this truth and rose to incredible heights because of it. Think of the survivors of wars, disasters, and oppression who refused to be victims. They didn't wait for permission to live. They fought, they built, they acted. Spiritually, even faith requires personal action. You can pray for strength, but you must also stand up and walk in it. Accepting that no one is coming to save you doesn't mean you cut yourself off from help or community. It means you stop depending on them as your plan. It's a shift from passive hope to active responsibility. It's harsh, yes. It strips away the fantasy that someone else will fight your battles for you. But the moment you embrace it, something powerful happens. You stop being a passenger in your own life, and you start being the one at the wheel. The truth is, you're not powerless unless you choose to be. The second hard truth. The second hard truth is this. You are not the person you think you are. We all carry an image of ourselves in our minds, a carefully crafted picture made up of the traits we like, the beliefs we hold, and the stories we tell ourselves about our past. This image feels real, but more often than not, is an illusion built to protect our ego and keep us comfortable. In reality, who you think you are and who you really are can be worlds apart. You might think you're strong until life hits you with something that leaves you on your knees. You might think you're honest until you realize how often you twist the truth to protect yourself. You might think you're compassionate until you're faced with someone who tests the limits of your patience. The difference between illusion and reality is most visible when pressure is applied. History has shown this over and over. Leaders who believe themselves incorruptible, only to crumble when tempted by power. Entire nations that believed they were morally superior, only to commit atrocities when tested. People of faith who claimed they would never compromise, only to sell their value for comfort or security. This truth is uncomfortable because it forces us to confront the gap between who we are in our own heads and who we are in our actions. It's easier to live in the illusion. It's easier to say, I would never do that, than to admit, I might if the circumstances were right. And yet, facing this truth can be the beginning of real transformation. When you see yourself clearly, strengths, weaknesses, hidden motives, unspoken fears, you gain the power to change. You stop defending a false image and start building a real character. Spiritually, this is critical. Many believe their faith is strong simply because they hold certain beliefs. But true faith is revealed in action, in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the sacrifices you're willing to endure for what's right. In relationships, it's the same. We think we're loyal until loyalty costs us something. We think we're patient until patience requires more time than we expected. This is why this truth is so hard to accept. It destroys the comforting illusion that we've already arrived as the best version of ourselves. It tells us we have more work to do, more growth ahead, more uncomfortable self-examination to endure. And if this truth is difficult to swallow, brace yourself, because the biggest truth is still coming, and it will challenge not just how you see yourself, but how you see the entire world. The cost of ignoring the truth. The cost of ignoring the truth is never zero. You don't get to press pause on reality just because you're not ready to face it. Every day you look away, the price quietly rises until one day the bill comes due, and it's more than you can pay. History is littered with examples. The Roman Empire ignored the warning signs of its own decay, political corruption, moral collapse, economic instability, until it crumbled from within. The warnings were there for decades, but they chose the comfort of denial over the discomfort of reform. By the time they faced the truth, it was too late. In personal life, it's no different. A person who ignores their health symptoms because they don't want bad news may find themselves facing a disease that could have been treated months earlier. A spouse who ignores the signs of infidelity because they don't want to deal with it eventually wakes up to a marriage beyond repair. The danger of denial is that it allows small cracks to grow into catastrophic breaks. Truth doesn't disappear just because you refuse to acknowledge it. It grows stronger, more urgent, and often more painful. Imagine two paths. On one, you face the truth early. It's hard, yes, but you take action, make changes, and steer your life back on course. On the other, you keep ignoring it, telling yourself, it's not that bad, I'll deal with it later. But later comes with interest. Problems multiply, choices vanish. And by the time you're forced to deal with reality, your options are few and the damage is deep. Spiritually, this is even more serious. Many people live as though there will always be time to get right with God, to reconcile with others, to change their ways. But life doesn't guarantee later. There comes a point when the chance to act is gone, and eternal consequences are unchangeable. The truth is merciful when faced early, but merciless when ignored. Denial feels safe in the moment, but it's like ignoring smoke in your house because you don't want to deal with fire alarm. The fire doesn't care if you believe it exists. It will consume everything just the same. And this is why the next truth will be the most difficult yet, because it's the one that not only shapes your present, but determines your forever. How to recognize the truth when you see it. One of the most dangerous things in life is not just missing the truth. It's mistaking a lie for the truth. Lies often come dressed in the clothing of truth. They speak in smooth voices, backed by impressive credentials, wrapped in emotions that feel right. That's why recognizing the real thing requires more than just intelligence. It requires discernment. First, understand this. Truth is consistent. It doesn't bend to convenience. If a truth changes depending on who's telling it or what's at stake, it's not truth, it's manipulation. The real thing holds up under scrutiny, even if it's unpopular or uncomfortable. Second, truth aligns with reality, not with feelings alone. Feelings can be wonderful guides, but they're not reliable judges. You might feel comforted by something false or disturbed by something true. That's why critical thinking matters. Ask, what evidence supports this? Does it align with what's proven? Or is it just what I wish were true? Third, watch the fruit. In spiritual terms, you can judge a tree by the fruit it bears. If accepting a claim leads to more deception, destruction, or selfishness, it's likely not truth. If it leads to clarity, accountability, and growth, even if it's painful, you may have found the real thing. Beware of manipulation. Lies often come from people who stand to gain from your ignorance, whether it's money, power, control, or influence. Question who benefits if you believe this. If the answer is them, not me, proceed carefully. Here are some quick self-check questions you can use whenever you're confronted with a truth. Would this still be true if my emotions were different right now? Has this been tested by evidence, not just repeated until I believe it? Does this line up with moral and spiritual principles that have stood the test of time? If I follow this, who wins? Me, them, or both? The more you practice asking these questions, the sharper your discernment becomes. Truth doesn't hide from investigation. It welcomes it. Lies demand blind acceptance and get angry when questioned. The moment you can clearly separate what's real from what's comfortable is the moment you become very hard to deceive. And that's important because the final truth I'm about to share is the one most people never see coming, and yet it decides everything. The final and most uncomfortable truth. Here it is, the truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Your life is not your own, and one day you will give an account for every choice you've made. We live in an age that celebrates self-ownership. My life, my rules, my truth. It's sound empowering, but it's a dangerous half-truth. Yes, you have the freedom to make choices, but no choice is free from consequences, and no life is lived in isolation. Every word you speak, every action you take, every thought you nurture, it all leaves a mark, not just on your life, but on the lives of others. And here's the uncomfortable part. You will answer for it before God, before the one who sees past your excuses, your intentions, and your carefully crafted image. History forgets. People overlook, but truth does not. It remembers. It records, and one day it will be replayed in full. Think of the parable of the rich man who lived in luxury, while a poor man suffered outside his gate. He ignored the truth that his blessings came with responsibility, until the day came when the roles were reversed and no more change was possible. Or think of leaders in history who abused their power, believing they were untouchable, only to face judgment in the end, whether in a court of law, in the eyes of people, or before God himself. Accepting this truth takes courage because it strips away the illusion that life is random or meaningless. It forces you to see that every choice matters. What you do with your time, your words, your resources, your relationships. It means you can't hide behind, "I didn't know," or "I didn't think it mattered." But here's the freedom in it. Once you accept that your life is not just about you, you begin to live with purpose. You stop wasting time on meaningless pursuits. You stop justifying actions that harm others. You start living with the awareness that every day is a gift and a test, an opportunity to leave behind something worth remembering. This truth doesn't cage you. It frees you from the emptiness of living without meaning. It calls you higher. It makes every sunrise matter. It turns your daily choices into eternal investments. And whether you embrace it or deny it, this truth will meet you in the end. The question is, when it does, will you be ready to face it? You've heard the truths. That no one is coming to save you. You must take responsibility for your own life. That you are not the person you think you are. And growth begins the moment you see yourself clearly. That ignoring the truth only multiplies the cost, and time never waits. That truth can be recognized if you have the courage to question, test, and discern. And finally, that your life is not your own, and you will give an account for every choice you make. Now you stand at a crossroads. You can close this and return to comfort, letting these words fade into background noise. Or you can decide, right here, right now, that the way you live from this moment forward will be different. Truth demands action. It's not enough to know it, you must live it. Speak it when it's unpopular. Choose it when it's costly. Stand for it when it's dangerous. The world doesn't change because truth is known. It changes because truth is acted on. And that starts with you. So here's your choice. Live in the shadows of half-truths or step into the light, no matter how blinding it feels at first. Because in the end, the greatest danger is not that the truth will hurt you. It's that the lies will destroy you while you pretend they're not there. The truth will set you free. But first, it will demand everything you are. If you like this video and want to learn more about good ways to communicate with respect and kindness, then like this video to support the message. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Share this video with your loved ones so that together we can spread more kindness. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Tell me in comments what question has ever made you uncomfortable and how you'd like people to communicate with you. See you soon for a new video. Thank you for watching. God bless you.